Hello.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Got a big old thunderstorm happening right now. I'm just praying that we don't get knocked without power.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I know how that goes. That's awful.
Man, what a sound you have in this band. I mean, I got to tell you, I hear unity going on in this, in the music that you have. It's almost like everybody brings their own game, and it creates a harmony in a way that says, yeah, we're working together on this. It's not a one-sided view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, honestly, like we have such variety in our music inspiration, and I feel like when it comes to creating it, somehow, I don't know how, but somehow it all just comes together. And I think we're really blessed to have so many awesome musicians in this band. And so, yeah, thank you so much for saying that.
I mean, a jam session with you guys has got to be legendary in the way of being able to be open with each other because of the way that this song Trouble comes together. I mean, there's something very, very smooth about it.
Yeah, honestly, like, thank you so much. With Trouble and like all our music, sometimes like it just flows, and I think for this song, it was definitely like that, you know, in terms of just sitting down and getting together and being like, okay, guys, I have this riff. I think this will sound good. You know, our guitarist and our producer, they're really good at that. And like exactly what you said, everything just kind of blends. It's almost like a jam session. And when you start to put all that other stuff on top of it, like the singing, the melodies, the lyrics, somehow it just all comes together. And so, yeah, I'm really proud of this song for sure.
Do you think it's because you guys have been out there on the road together and you've done things and you know who your audience is, so that when you go into the studio, you physically see them inside your head and heart?
Yes, for me as the one who's writing the lyrics, I definitely have the audience in mind 100% of the time. And also, you know, with the band and being comfortable to share those experiences and the energy, we all have like a collective idea of what we're going for before we even sit down and start. And I think that really helps us have an idea of where to go, because our first album that we wrote, you know, it was definitely almost like a trial, but, you know, we were still figuring it out. And I definitely feel more proud, or I am proud of all of them, but, you know, definitely feel more comfortable with where we're sitting in this new track, these new songs. And like, yeah, it's exactly what you said. Just somehow we just mesh into this one. And I'm so excited about it.
Well, it's the kind of song that I want to hear on my new rock station. But at the same time, I also want to have these new classic rock stations pick it up and make it a third generation rock song, because there's some inspiration in this where there are times I hear Sammy Hagar. There are times that I hear Ann Hart of the group Hart. I mean, there's just so much inspiration from the paths that were here before you.
Mm-hmm, right. And that's exactly what we're taking from. Like, obviously, we want to have almost a nostalgic feel, but with a modern spin. You know, we're very inspired by Heart, you know, and exactly all the music that you would grasp when you first listen to that. It's exactly what we're inspired by. For me personally, Heart for sure, but also like the newer stuff. I don't know if you know Olivia Rodrigo, but she has some really cool new stuff in her songs that it's almost for her nostalgic too, almost like the 90s 2000s. And so for us, we were kind of pulling from both and seeing like, you know, what can we do to put it together and make it sound fresh but also nostalgic.
What is it like for you to have those guitar riffs that you do, because they've got their own uniqueness to them, but then when you have to bring in the vocals, you have to kind of share that stage with the riff as well as the vocals?
Yeah, so every, you know, songwriter writes a little differently, but personally, I do go with the riffs of the guitar, and nice. That really gives me inspiration when it comes to melodies. And yeah, honestly, so my sister is the guitarist, and she's just, I'm so proud of her, but like she really can just come up, her with our producer as well, come up with the most like, I don't know, just gritty, cool riffs, and that gives me inspiration to write melodies on top of that. And so it's so fun to do, you know, have that the creativity be, you know, thrown out there.
To create with your sister, has that been something that's been your entire life, or was it something where one person was, walking down the hallway going, whoa, you're playing music. What's going on here?
Yeah, so my sister and I, we started off as like a student band, and she did not want to start. She did not want to play music at all. I was like the singer, the diva in the family, and my sister was like, I want to do, we were young at the time. She's like, I want to try sports. I want to do karate. I want to do all this stuff. Like, Izzy, can you really just like play the guitar for my band? And she was like, okay, fine. And she ended up loving it. And she doesn't know what she would do without it. And so it started off not what you would think. And now we do everything together. Yes. Like, I think the band has really made us even more like, I don't know what the word is, but intertwined, I guess. Like, we're like peanut butter and jelly, my sister and I. We just get each other so easily. And I think part of the being in a band really makes it, because we're together all the time, Back
in my early days, we called them garage bands. Did you guys play in the garage or anything like that?
Yep. We definitely started off like that too.
Because I think Dave Matthews was the first one to step forward saying, yeah, we were down in my mom's basement.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we started off kind of the same way. We had instructors actually when we first started. It was kind of, I guess, a newer way of starting bands. But yeah, and then eventually we just did it on our own. And my mom is our manager, and she's great. She's been helping us book shows ever since we were young, and to this day, she's gotten really good at it. And yeah, honestly, without her, we probably wouldn't have gotten as far, outside of the garage.
See, now what your mom needs to do is get you guys a binge watching TV program so that we can all watch you guys go through your musical life.
Yes, please. No, that's exactly. I used to joke about that all the time, because there's some crazy stuff that goes on, in bands. And so, you see it on TV shows and movies, how bands happen, especially when you have families involved, it can get, you're so passionate about it. And so it's definitely an interesting dynamic, to say the least.
That album cover looks like it's big city street art. Is that what inspired you to do it?
So, yeah, we have an amazing friend who does like amazing artwork, and he's like on TV shows and the news, and he works on different projects all over. He just did a Barbie premiere, and like he lives very close to us. And so we asked him, we had an idea for it, and we were going for, the idea was something beautiful, but like also kind of deadly. Mm-hmm. And we were like, what can we do to portray that? And so we asked him, I said, can you try and like make a tree? Make a tree, and maybe underneath it be some skulls, because do you think there's like more meaning to that? And also just my background, my love of like the art. I like the almost like it's real art,
Yeah.
And so we really wanted to use that for the album cover, and the artist, is so amazing. And yeah, he just did everything that we asked for, and it came out so awesome.
You're going to put that on T-shirts and posters, because that's the kind of stuff that people see at a concert or a show, and they go, I've got to have that.
Yep. No, we do. We do have merch for sale, like with the album cover on it. We have CDs, we have stickers and stuff like that.
One of the fascinating things that I love about music fans today is that they're so willing to talk about the T-shirts that they're wearing, because you'll see a band name on a shirt, and boy, it's like they become Casey Kasem in that moment, or even a Ryan Seacrest, and they start telling your story without you being there.
I know, it's so cool, and like our fans are so cool to like be sharing it, and like they'll post pictures with this. They're wearing like our merch, and I think it's so fun. And sometimes this is the craziest part. Sometimes we'll be driving around, and I literally will see a sticker on like the car that says Black Rock Candy, and I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. It's a little bit surreal. I'm also like, outside of being a singer, I have a full-time job of being a substitute teacher.
Wow.
And so sometimes, I know, and so sometimes I'll see students walk around with a T-shirt on, and I'm like, like, I don't know if they're aware that their sub is the singer, but it's kind of funny. But yeah, no, it's really, really interesting. And I personally love the merch side and the I guess the business side of being in the band, because I love the designs and coming up with new stuff. We have some new stuff with Honey. We have a tour T-shirt.
Wow.
That we release. And so that was definitely like one of the coolest things that we've made. And so, yeah, the merch is just so fun to work with.
How often as that substitute teacher do you use your personal experiences with the public when on that live stage or the negotiations and things? You use that as a tool to help get into the heart of a student who could be lost.
Yeah, no, I really love working with students. I'm also a vocal coach on the side. Like, nice. I got like a million jobs, but yeah, like, so I love working with students and just, getting to connect. And so, yeah, you're right. Like, I think the singing, it's helped me as a performer step outside of my comfort zone. And, I feel like since I've done it since such a young age, I've grown up into this and I've just been comfortable. And so stepping outside of that is definitely a challenge, but it's also so rewarding. And then to see that play out in the students that I work with, because I tend to work within the same schools, and they all know pretty much for the most part, that we're fans and they follow us, and it's so cute. And even their parents, they'll go to shows, and I just think it's so cool to see that.
Yeah, I wish more people would do that and understand that, because, I mean, even in radio, I've been in the business for 44 years. There for a while, I lost the vision of who I thought the listener was. So I went and got a job at a grocery store because it put me right there in front of those people who are listeners.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's kind of what our approach was with Trouble, because I wanted it to be I wanted the mass to be able to listen to it and be like, I like this song, whether you like rock, country, pop, like whatever it is. I was like, this needs to be something anyone can listen to, because from my perspective, I didn't actually grow up being like a full out rock listener. Like I did listen to rock, like the classics and everything, and like 80s rock, but I also listened to a lot of pop, and I had so much different variety. And so knowing that going in to our EP, I was like, what can we do to make this super listenable to just anyone?
I was gonna say, how do you put the? Can you tell there's a thunderstorm going on? Can you hear it in the background?
Oh yeah, I can definitely hear it.
So how do the songs come into play then? When you've got that much variety inside your musical soul, how do you know where to make that twist to go? Okay, I'm going to play a little bit of pop, but I'm going to mix in a little bit of country. When do you know you've got the right mix?
So that's honestly been the toughest part of it all, finding like a sound that not only sounds like us, but sounds like it fits within the audience that we're going for. Because as you know, the world is constantly changing, and music is always being put out differently, and different people are always trying to be unique. And so it's really hard to find that happy medium of all of that. So I was like, we need to keep rock alive in some way, but also hit this audience. And so our audience for sure was definitely, like I said, the mass. Anyone could listen to it. That's what mainstream is. And so we definitely were like, we want to be almost like the next No Doubt, where they were, or Green Day, where they kind of went against the grain and didn't do exactly what rock and roll was, but they did do more mainstream. And it sounds just as like amazing, because everyone can listen to it. Like, everyone knows Just a Girl,
Yeah.
So that's definitely kind of the vibe we were going for.
Wow, I was that afternoon drive jock when No Doubt first appeared on the music scene, and we would sit there inside those listening meetings just going, who is this, and who's going to try to predict their future? I mean, it changed everything.
Right. And I wasn't born in the 90s, but, growing up and listening to No Doubt and different, female artists, rock artists, and, trying to grab inspiration on that, I definitely was like, this is something, like, it gives me inspiration, and kind of a guideline. So it definitely helps to have people like that out there, and it helps pave the way for other artists like us that are trying to still break through.
So, you just, breaking through, you just gave me a vision here that you seem to be the type of person and an open heart in the way that as you go and get bigger, you go into these cities, and with your vocal training, you have like a little band camp for young up and coming artists in each one of those cities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We, for sure. Like, I think having like the audience and, like you said, like that is really what matters the most to us. So, knowing that, I think definitely helps us have a navigation to where we're going, and hopefully it's going to help us out, because I feel like we, even just our hometown, we live in like Los Angeles area, we say, but it's more east, in a city called Corona. I know of like coronavirus and everything, but it's like, and the city, is really the locals and everyone. Like I said, we'll just be walking around. Sometimes I'll be in like literally one time I was in Starbucks and I was like, someone stopped me. They were like, I saw you play at this brewery. And that's like our main place that we go to, because they've been like supporting us ever since we were little. And it's just kind of funny. And yeah, that's exactly what we're going for. We want to start spreading out to all these different areas and grow this audience.
Wow. I don't know what life is like out in California, but here in the Carolinas, we have live music on Thursday nights in the grocery store.
No. Wow. No, you know what? That's kind of funny that you say that, because we went on tour recently, and this was in Tennessee actually, but same thing as what you said. We were at a hardware store / grocery store / all these things, and I was like, whoa, I've never been to a place like this before. So I definitely know what that experience is like.
So where can people go to find out more about you, and to really, I want them to buy the merchandise, because once you own the merchandise, it's an automatic win to buy a ticket when you come to our town.
Right. Yeah. So we have a website, blackrockcandy.com. And so we have all of our merch there, and we have actually 2 separate merch sites. We have one where you can make your own custom Black Rock Candy merch.
Nice.
And have one that we put out ourselves. We make all the merch. And we also sell those at shows. We have all of our shows listed on there. And so, yeah, we try to really just make it accessible to everyone.
Yeah, look how interactive you are. I mean, you're so spot on where an artist should be. How important are the analytics? Because, I mean, I've been with so many different club owners and stuff like that, and they go, well, if they don't have good numbers on the web, I'm not bringing them in.
Yeah, honestly, the marketing is, I've dealt with that myself, and I've actually been the one to push out the marketing and seen all the numbers and stuff. And so it's definitely difficult, especially when you don't know what direction to go to or how to even do it. And I feel like it's just research and patience and knowing what to do and what your goal is. And so for our band, we have so many different listeners, mainly throughout California, but just because we went on tour, it's crazy to see how many more people from different states. Like we have, people from Ohio buying our stuff, people from Texas buying our stuff, Oklahoma. Like it's kind of crazy that we've pushed ourselves out there. And I think another outlet that's been helping us is TikTok for sure, because we do live streams and videos, and anyone can watch those from anywhere. And so it's so cool to see that it's not just in this little town or city that we know of. It's bigger than that. So it's really crazy to see that.
Taylor, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
Thank you so much. You too. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for having me, and Black Rock Candy.